What's going on, cool people? Um,
Blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I grabbed the job on a container ship for 77 days.
so, yeah, there we go.
So I met the ship in the dirty on a cold December morning. I signed on to this ship as a 12 to 4 watch standing AB, which means I work from noon to 4 p.m. and from midnight to 4 a.m. every single day. While underway, I stand my watch on the bridge, but if we're in port, I stand gangway watch, which is more or less the bouncer of the ship, checking IDs and keeping the riffraff out, 4-hour shifts at a time. I soon found out that the ship was on what the officers called a Meckel run, which I think stands for Middle Eastern Container Line, I think, which pretty much means we'll be dicking around in the Middle East and the Indian Ocean. But before we would head overseas, we'd do a quick run down the coast. So from Jersey, we'd head down to Charleston, and from Charleston jump over to Savannah. Then when we leave Savannah, we'd go around Florida and head to Houston. After Houston, we would turn around and head back to Jersey, making a quick stop in Norfolk, Virginia. We left Jersey and began our 2-week transit across the Atlantic, heading for the Strait of Gibraltar. The crossing wasn't bad, but for some reason the chief mate said there would be no overtime given for the entire transit. So my day consisted of hanging out on the bridge for a couple hours and a whole lot of free time. It was nice just to chill out, especially after the hectic coastal run, but it sucked not making money. We spent Christmas in the Atlantic and New Year's Eve sitting at anchor. Happy 2020, everyone. To finally arrive in Algeciras. We then began to transit the Mediterranean, heading towards Port Said, which means in 5 days we'd be going through the Suez Canal. And wouldn't you know it, the chief mate started giving out overtime. So every day from 8 to 12, I worked OT. Which was pretty much chipping and painting. Not gonna lie, I was pretty excited when we got to Port Said. This was gonna be my first time going through the Suez Canal. A solid notch on any sailor's belt. While we transfer our cargo in Port Said, kind of felt like you're on a flying mountain going through the desert. A little side note, if you see my Great Lakes video, you know I can relate to this freaking guy. That poor bastard. Once we left the canal, we went around Yemen, stopping in Salalah and heading towards Jebel, which would take us into the Persian Gulf. Tensions were high as we entered the Persian Gulf. Due to some current events, we would be one of the first U.S. merchant ships to get this close to Iran in weeks. After we left the Persian Gulf, we stopped at Port Qasim, Pivava, and going as far as Mumbai. Regardless what time of day it was, what you were doing, or how asleep you were, a couple hours before we got to port, we get an all-hands wake-up call. We split the deck gang in two. Half the guys would go to the bow, the other half would go to the stern. After we would finish getting the lines ready, it was always kind of nice just to chill out and enjoy coming into port. No matter how tired you were or what else was going on, it was always a good feeling coming into our next port. And when we bring the lines under tension, it's one of the scariest parts about working on deck. It would typically take about a day or two to finish cargo ops. Then we would take in our lines and head to the next port. Because of our short port stays, I would rarely get off the ship. Even though we were going to different countries, everything started to look the same. Gangway watch in Pakistan. Trucks are crazy. Longshoremen running around. Containers falling over. It's so hot in Mumbai. So hot. It was a good feeling when we left Mumbai. We started heading back west, back in the right direction, as the crew would say. Going through the canal the second time was a little strange. All the canal workers were super nervous and paranoid on whether our ship's been to China or not. Something about a virus or something. I'm sure it's nothing. Once we left the canal, we would stop in Algeciras before we'd start our transit back across the Atlantic. back to the US, back to Jersey, back home. The transit back to the States was cake. It was only 8 days long. Felt like we were going downhill. Hashtag flat earth. Morale was definitely high when I got back to the States, especially for me, considering I was signing off. It was nice to finally work on a container ship. I always wondered what it was like to work on one. Wasn't the biggest fan of the short port stays, but the work was easy and I had a great watch partner. Hope you're doing good, Robbie. Looking forward to our backpacking trip. Who knows if I'll work on a container ship again. There's a lot of other ships out there. All I know is I'll be looking forward to whatever's next.